Hello, Mrs. Imperio's Cheerios.
Hello.
I have a pretend student over there.
I'm always learning.
We are going to work on our lion picture. This picture here. I did print off some pictures to look at for lions. Typically when you think of a lion color, you think kind of yellow, but they're not exactly yellow. And I do not know what crayons you have to work with, so we will be doing a lot of blending to try and make this work. Normally, if we were in the classroom, this is kind of the color we'd be going for, which you actually use a goldenrod crayon, but I'm pretty sure most of you don't have that crayon at home. I don't even know if you have the 24 pack, which is really easy to get at Walmart. I think it's like $1 or less. I'm hoping you have most of the colors from the 24 pack. If not, then we will do the best we can. This is our list of colors. The first one is apricot. Now if you have a box of 24 crayons, you should have this color. This is apricot. And if you don't, well, you can't use it. We'll have to use a combination of brown and yellow, I guess. So we have apricot, regular yellow, regular brown, because we don't have our skin, hair, fur colors, which we would have if we were at school. We need regular black, so all we can use is apricot and brown. And yellow green, which is like this. If you have colored pencils, you should have yellow green as well, but if you have crayons, please use crayons. This is going to take a lot of coloring to try and make this work without our special goldenrod color. If you do not have a yellow green, this light green, you can just grab a regular green. Okay, if you need to pause this and go get your crayons, paper, whatever it is, you can pause this and get your colors out. I'm going to get started and make sure. Uh-oh, I lost my info. Here we go. All right. Really hoping you have apricot or peach, because we're gonna do a layer of this on almost everything. And we're coloring the whole lion pretty much with this. Let's start with the body here. Now what do you do if you don't have this at all? Use yellow, but you're gonna have to color super duper light. In fact, you know what? Let's go over a coloring technique. So, pause, stop coloring, freeze. On another piece of paper, or you can just flip your lion paper over. I'm gonna grab another piece because I'm gonna have to scan this later. Take a crayon, take your yellow or your brown, and I want you hold it like a pencil. Normally you hold a pencil like this to write, right? For what we call, or what Mrs. Crayon used to call waggling, I'm gonna call lightly shading. I hold it like a pencil, but farther up on the crayon. So there's a lot more sticking out. And I kind of just lightly drag it back and forth on the paper. Super light. I'm going to grab my brown crayon. I'm going to do the same thing. Super duper light. You see that? This would be pressing down. This would be really lightly shading. And the more you press, you know, I can still do shading like a medium color like that, but we want it really, really light. So you're gonna do really light with your yellow. If you do not have apricot, then you could use your yellow and super duper really, really lightly shade, okay? Those of you who do have apricot or peach, it's already a really light color, so I'm actually pressing pretty hard with the apricot to get the color to come out. Now we do have to color the tail. Stay in those lines. I know the tail's kind of skinny, so you follow the tail around, and if you need to turn your paper, you can turn your paper. And there, we have the body and the tail done. And if you need more time, you can pause it and finish the body and the tail. Okay. Now we're going to do the face. Again, if you're using apricot, press hard so we can see it. Alright. We have the face done, but we're not done with apricot yet. You see the mane, how it kind of goes out and it's going to go out from the face. So I don't want you coloring up and down like this. I want you to see these lines here. Color right over those lines, out like this, out from the face towards the end of the mane. And we're going to do that. See how I'm turning my paper? We don't turn papers when we write letters, but when you're coloring, you can definitely turn your paper. And I'm going all the way around. I'm starting from the head and I'm coming out towards the edge of the mane. Okay, that's a lot of apricot, isn't it? And actually, we're going to use it in pretty much everything, I think. But we'll come back to the background. Now we're going to take our yellow, and we're, like we talked about over here, super duper lightly pressing. We're going to blend really lightly, really lightly. We're going to blend a little yellow into the fur. It's still not really an accurate lion color, but we are going to make it work with the crayons that we have. And because we're going so lightly, it shouldn't really take that long, because we're just blending a little bit of yellow over the apricot. But wherever we have apricot, we gotta put some yellow. So over the tail. And once you do over the tail, then we gotta do the face. And remember, we're going out from the face. Towards the edge. Remember, at any point, if you need more time, when I move on to the next thing, you can always pause it and finish up. Okay? Okay. That was yellow. Now we're gonna take brown. I wish we had the color tan, but we don't have tan either, because that would be part of our special people, skin, hair, animal colors box, which we don't have. This we have to blend even lighter because brown is a much darker color than yellow and apricot. So I am super duper, really lightly, see, I'm just going like this back and forth. I'm not pressing much at all, just very lightly. I'm controlling the crayon, but I'm just very, very, very lightly pressing down. So I'm just blending a little bit of brown over top of the yellow and the apricot to try and give it that tannish, goldish fur color that lions have. Some lions are more tan color. Some lions have a little more golden color in their fur. Lions usually live in groups called prides. And the lion, generally speaking, says is one of the most widely recognized animals in the world. It's been used for thousands of years in artwork, in symbols. It's a symbol of strength, or even leadership, like kingdoms use it as a symbol for like a strong, powerful king or ruler. Alright, I've done the face and the body and the tail. That looks more like a lion. I'm going to do the same thing again. Going out from the face. Blending just a little bit of brown over what we have already. Go all the way around. You probably know already, or it's probably just common sense to you that the male lion, the boy lion, grows a lot bigger than the female. And we know usually a male lion, you can see the difference because they have what? What we're coloring right now is the big hairy mane around their head. When the boy lions are growing up, they don't have that. I forget how old they are when their mane really gets to start growing in. Okay, notice my edges of the mane are still kind of white. We are actually, you know what, let's bring it all the way to the edge. We can bring the brown a little closer to the edge here. Let's finish off the edge with the brown. And you can be darker on the edge. If I had my people color box of crayons, which, well, I do, but I know you don't, or you probably don't, I would use sepia, which is a really dark brown. But what we're going to do to make a darker brown is blend some black over it. But we have to be careful with black because black is the very darkest of all of our crayon colors. Alright, so I've gone all the way around and filled in the edge with brown. So it's time for our black crayon. Alright, so we're going to color the nose black. It's cute little triangular nose. And the inside of the ears, I'm going to color black. I'm actually going to add a little black, I think, over the ends of the paws. Probably should have done brown first, you know what? So I'm going to take brown and I'm going to make the feet a little darker than the rest of the body. Just a little bit. Super duper light. And then I'm going to take my black, and on the tail, what does a lion have at the end of its tail? Does it look like this? Not quite. It has some extra fur. They call it like a tuft. So we're actually going to go outside of the lines a little bit here. And do some lines this way, some lines that way. And make our little tuft of hair coming off the lion's tail. Add a little brown to that. Okay. I actually want it to look a little more furry than that, so there. Now we're going to do the edge of the mane, so be careful because once again this is black. It comes out really dark, so you don't need to add much at all. And I'm going to start at the very edge. I'm not going all the way. I'm using really short coloring strokes compared to what we did before. And I'm bringing it in from the edge towards the head, just like we were doing with the brown. And I'm going all the way around. Whoops, just knocked my camera. We were talking about the lions, how they live in prides, and the male lion is bigger. The females are usually the ones that do the hunting though. Okay, I'm going to trace over these little lines that were here before. If you are a pre-K student, you can be done. Actually, well, not yet. Let's finish. Take your black crayon, trace the L from the roof to the floor. And now you can be done. Pre-K students, you did a good job. If you want to keep coloring with us, you can. But if you're tired of coloring, you can be done. Okay, kindergarten students, we're going to finish with our background. So take your apricot back out. And if you don't have apricot, use your brown, but color really, really lightly. Super light. If you have apricot, we're coloring, you see where the dirt line is? We're going to draw a line from the dirt line, from this dirt line to the edge of the paper. And this whole bottom, we're going to color in with apricot. Lions used to live in more parts of the world than they do now. But because people have hunted them and have gotten rid of their habitats by building things and also taking away their food supply, there's not a lot of lions left. Let's see, they live in the sub-Saharan Africa areas, and there's a very small population in Western India still with us. Okay, after the apricot, I'm blending really lightly some brown. Kind of trying to make it look sandy, which we'd normally do with a tan crayon. But we can blend apricot and brown to make it look sandy. It's very hot where they live, so they spend a lot of time resting during the day. Hey, if you have your scrap paper or flip it back over, I want you to practice making grass. See that? Maybe I'll do it with brown so you can see it. You start from the bottom and go up, and it's just, there's nothing super straight, perfect about it. It's supposed to be really random, and so just try that on the back of your paper. Going from the bottom up. You don't need to press hard at all, unless it's the apricot maybe, but and that's what we're going to do over here. I'm going to start with apricot. We usually start with our lightest color, and it's up to you how high you want to make it. If you don't want to make it that high, you don't have to. I'm going to make mine pretty high on the edges here. Oh, I keep knocking my camera. Alright, so after all of that, I'm going to take my brown and do the same thing. Not as dark. We don't need really lightly. Not on the lion, but coming from behind the lion and next to the lion. From the ground up. Okay? You can leave it at that. I don't know what you have for green. If you have a light green, you could maybe add some light green to it if you want. You don't have to. You could leave it with just the tan and the apricot and brown. Or brown if all you had was brown. Or you could put some green in it. Or your dark green if you don't have light green, but go really light if you don't have the light green. And there is our lion resting in the grass. If you want to, I know we didn't put this down. If you want to add a sun, you draw like a half circle. From right here, you curve around, go to the other edge. You color that in with yellow. And you make rays, sun rays coming from the sun. Like that. And if you have orange, let's get my crayons out here. If you have orange or yellow orange, I have to put my yellow orange back. No. Why? All I can find is my regular orange, so I'm going to use orange. Oh, it's because it's over here. I'm going to trace over the edge here and color in a little bit. And then blend a little bit more over the rest of the sun. And then add some more sun rays next to the yellow ones. Whoops. Some of my sun rays came out a little wonky, but that's okay. Alright. We are not doing a sky, because that would require even more coloring, and I'm done. So there we have our lion. I hope you enjoyed learning some new coloring techniques, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.